Lucius Annaeus Seneca is remembered as a Stoic philosopher, statesman, and tutor to an emperor. What is less often examined is the environment in which his philosophy was tested. Not in quiet reflection, but inside one of the most dangerous political systems in history. Ancient Rome was not merely powerful, it was volatile. Emperors rose quickly and fell violently. Trust was temporary, favor was unstable, loyalty was deadly. Seneca lived his entire adult life inside this uncertainty. He served in the inner circle of power, close enough to influence events and close enough to be destroyed by them. His philosophy was not built in isolation. It was forged under constant threat. Seneca was born into privilege, trained in rhetoric, law, and philosophy. He showed early brilliance, but Rome was not kind to brilliance. Envy, suspicion, and ambition shaped political life. To rise was to become visible. To become visible was to become vulnerable. Seneca learned early that clarity required restraint. Speech could end careers. Silence could save lives. He observed the behavior of men who sought power and those who survived it. From this, he began to refine his central concern. How does one remain inwardly stable when the world is outwardly unstable? At the height of his early career, Seneca was accused of conspiracy and exiled to Corsica. The charges were likely political, not factual. He lost his position, his influence, his security, his social standing. For 8 years, he lived in isolation. This exile became a crucible. Cut off from public life, Seneca turned inward. He studied emotional disturbance, fear, anger, grief, desire, ambition. He observed how easily the mind becomes enslaved to circumstance, and he began to shape a philosophy not for comfort, but for survival. Seneca was eventually recalled to Rome to tutor the young Nero. At first, the relationship was promising. Under Seneca's guidance, Nero ruled moderately, but power has its own gravity. As Nero matured, restraint collapsed. Paranoia replaced reflection. Cruelty replaced caution. Executions increased. Political violence spread. Fear thickened the air. Seneca found himself trapped. Too prominent to disappear. Too ethical to participate. Too exposed to escape. His life became a careful balancing act between influence and survival. This is where Seneca's thinking becomes extraordinary. He did not write from safety. He wrote while watched. Every letter, every essay, every argument was composed under the awareness that misinterpretation could be fatal. His philosophy is therefore precise, restrained, and unsentimental. He focuses relentlessly on emotional discipline, cognitive control, internal sovereignty, detachment from power, mastery of fear, not because they are admirable, but because they are necessary. Seneca understood that when the external world becomes dangerous, the only stable refuge is the governed mind. Seneca believed that suffering does not originate in circumstance. It originates in judgment. Events themselves are neutral. It is our interpretation that wounds us. Fear magnifies threat. Desire multiplies dissatisfaction. Anger intensifies injury. By refining judgment, Seneca believed, one could remain internally free even in external captivity. This was not theoretical, it was lived necessity. In a world where accusation could mean execution, emotional excess became lethal. Composure was survival. Clarity was defense. Seneca has often been criticized for his wealth. How, critics ask, could a Stoic preach simplicity while possessing immense riches? But Seneca never claimed virtue lay in poverty. He argued that detachment, not deprivation, was the goal. Wealth was acceptable. Dependence was not. Power was acceptable. Submission was not. His concern was not external possession, but internal slavery. He warned that luxury quietly weakens the mind, that excess softens resilience, that comfort makes clarity fragile. These warnings were not moral sermons. They were strategic insights into psychological durability. As Nero's rule grew more unstable, suspicion intensified. Eventually, Seneca was accused of conspiracy. Without trial, he was ordered to commit suicide. He did not resist. He did not plead. He did not protest. He opened his veins calmly, surrounded by students and friends, and spoke gently as life left his body. His final act mirrored his philosophy, calm under pressure, clarity under threat, dignity without spectacle. Seneca did not seek enlightenment. He sought stability under danger. His philosophy does not promise peace. It promises resilience. In a world still shaped by uncertainty, volatility, and power, Seneca offers a radical idea: that the most valuable form of freedom is not political. It is psychological, to govern the self, to discipline emotion, to remain sovereign over judgment. This is not comfort. It is armor. Seneca lived inside one of history's most unstable regimes. He faced exile, political terror, surveillance, and execution. Yet he never surrendered his inner clarity. His life reminds us that philosophy is not for quiet hours. It is for dangerous ones, and that the disciplined mind, more than wealth, safety, or status, is the only possession that cannot be taken. That is why Seneca's mind still speaks.